Hello, my fabulous humans. Welcome to Male Say, a space where men speak. My name is Makabelo Motaung, also known as Coach KB. I'm your social and dating coach and your host for this feature. This is a daily feature run on my timeline where I talk to men, black men especially, from different backgrounds about things that affect them and their outlook on life, on dating, on relationships, on sex, just on their entire experience as a whole. So I think I have lost Ubungani. He was supposed to be here, but I'm hoping that he streams back any second from now because otherwise it's just a monologue and we can't have that happen. So today we are talking divorce. There's an article that I read where they were basically insinuating, I don't know how true is this, that divorce affects men more than it does women, and it would be nice to just dive into how divorce affected him as a person as well. And yeah, I'm hoping he streams back anytime now. We were just literally together now. So angazuyephi. Let's see. Hopefully he's coming back. Buya phela Bhungani. Where are you? Come back. Come back. Don't run. All right, I hope he comes back. Anyway, I don't have any experience with divorce per se, but I have a lot of experience talking to a lot of women about it, and I know the challenges they face, and so I'm hoping that to hear it from Ubungani. And actually, he's here now, so yippee! Upumapi, wait before you say anything, let me show you. Okay, he's coming in. Hello,
Hey,
Kunjani.
ngisaphila unjani usisi?
Ngiyaphila, where did you run to? Oh my God, wangishiya ngiyi-one nje.
Hayi bo, angithi manje bengisathathe yakho profile ngiyiphakela abantu akithi ukuthi bakwazi ukusibuka live.
Hi,
Bese
Ka. You left me alone. I don't like that.
ah,
Bungani, are you sure they didn't make a mistake with your name? Were you not supposed to be Bongani?
hayi cha sisi, ubongani abobongani, let's leave abobongani to abobongani. Mina ngubhungane. And plus you must understand ukuthi mina I had no choice. I was a little baby in color. Ngifuna ukudla, ngifuna impahla. Amagama was none of my business at the time. By the time I
So,
learned igama lami, it was too late.
so is there a story behind Bungani? I mean, that's so unusual.
Yeah, well, we are unusual, but Upungane is a clan name. It represents a clan yabo Mthimkhulu or Pungane.
Oh,
It yeah, a clan Yamasubi. So
okay.
yeah, so
Okay,
Kai
please
is.
introduce yourself to your audience. Look at us going on and on.
Oh, okay. Igama lami uPhungane ne. Oka Hadebe sibongo. Mashwabat. I'm not gonna get into the whole clan name thing. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what, Makabel? Bengicabanga ne.
Mm.
Ukuthi, you said to me, Bungane, no, you must introduce yourself. And I thought of angazi how many introductions. And I was like, I call Lenda. Doesn't matter. You and I are gonna have a conversation. Now it's a challenge, I'm pushing it back to you, okay? We're gonna have a conversation. Ne? Then when I'm gonna introduce it at the end of the interview, based on your thoughts of the interview.
Awu cha ngeke futhi this is my house asiyenzi kanjalo kulo muzi nje kunemithetho la baba kwamele nje ushaye uvulamlomo kahle uzazise kwabakhulu abadala bakhona bakulindile nje so you must just do yourself a favor and
Okay.
introduce yourself.
I tried. Igama lami uBhungane. First and foremost, I'm a child of the soil. I'm a child of God. I'm a son. I'm a cousin. I'm a father. I'm a lover of the world. I'm a lover of love. I speak my truth, and that's me in a nutshell.
That wasn't so bad, was it?
Oh no, the nerve I got.
Lalela ke namhlanje
Hmm.
we're talking men and divorce. What's your
Sure.
experience with divorce?
Yo, where do you want me to start?
Are you a divorce? You can't be a divorcee. Is it a divorcee? Yeah.
let's just say I'm somebody who's divorced. Let's look somewhere along the road.
Ngiyabonga. Thank you for saving me from myself.
No, man. I divorced. I've been divorced for about 3 to 4 years now. Where do we start with it? Look, um, it isn't a build up with two people. Yeah? There's something that I'm not even sure which can I use swear words or not on this show, but let me keep it clean. So you find yourself growing apart with your partner, and please, this is not a I'm bashing my ex-wife or she bashes me. This is not it. We are not on that road. We're on the road where sikhuluma ngokuthi people will grow apart. Can you hear me? What's up, on? Hello, guys. Anybody? Hello. Hello. Anyways, guys, I was saying I don't even know if I'm still live, but anyways, what I was saying is you grow apart with a person, and sometimes you go far along the road and you find yourself having to ask yourself the difficult question: do I carry on? Do I not carry on? And if we do, what are we building based on? So that was one of the hard decisions you have to take initially with divorce. I'll wait for my brother.
Oh my God, I don't know what happened, eh? So sorry, guys. Yeah, no, I think I switched on e-network. I'm using a new network today, the Rain network, so it might be me. I don't know. But I'm so sorry about that. I'm glad you're still here. Anyway, let's
So
continue. So, yes, pardon?
you're raining on my parade. Excuse the pun.
I'm so sorry. I switched straight to Vodacom. We'll sort this thing out later. I just
Oh,
got
okay,
the
that's
new
okay.
router, so I think maybe that is just working against me.
Okay.
But you know what? Usasemuhle ke, let's asiqhubeke nje, you know?
Okay.
Yes, so
Where
where
did
were
you?
we?
We
We were
were.
talking about, you were saying that we were talking about divorce, and I was saying,
Hmm,
what's your experience with divorce? And you were explaining that you also come from divorce, you know?
yeah.
And that's why you're here today to share your
Yeah.
experience as a black man and how you've related to divorce.
Yeah.
And I was saying, Guti, I read up on this article where it was insinuating Guti, basically divorce is more harder on men than it is on women because chances are amadoda don't open up about it, but don't really seek out help like therapy, counseling, to move on. How true is that in your experience?
Look, put it this way. First and foremost, you as a person, right? There's a perception it's harder on men, amadoda, whatever. It depends on you, Makabe. Luguti, okay, me as Bhungani as a man, how you want the experience. It can be hard on you or it can be soft on you, right? And for it to be either hard or soft, you either need you need the participation of your spouse or ex-spouse. For me, I
Mm,
can say it was much easier because some of the things were discussed before. So it was a
mm.
conscious decision by both parties, right?
Okay.
Yeah, without lambasting anybody. But
Yeah.
but I'm going to say it's hard for men in general, né? More especially the black men. And what further exacerbates it, slow, what makes it harder is that
Mm,
if you don't know your rights as a man, for instance, you
mm,
will be on the best roller coaster of your life. Even the roller coasters in Disneyland are nothing compared to what you go through, right?
mm,
So how you do it is, as much as you are upset at each other as spouses, man, you need to find a way to communicate with each other, right?
mm,
Because at the end of the day, it's not about you win the argument or I win the
mm,
argument. The
mm.
ultimate loser in this entire thing, if we have children, are the children. So
Yeah.
already by us divorcing, right, you've put the children on a path of having to fight for everything for the rest of their lives, right?
Mm,
And fighting for it in that, Tina, as an African culture, we believe in the family unit,
mm,
right? So now, getting back to your discussion about is it harder on a black man or any man, let me tell you what you lose. Mauti, divorce lo mama or
mm,
divorce wena. One, you lose the if you call it the love of your life, you lose somebody owayetshela ukuthi, you know what, lo muntu ngizomthanda, rain, sunshine, gonke. You lose that,
mm,
right? You lose your family unit. You lose the ability to watch your child grow in front of you. You miss some
mm,
milestones. If umntwana usemncane, that first crawls, that first word, that first whatever, you catch on afterwards to those things.
mm,
Furthermore, if you are participating further, and sometimes it is seen that we are weak for this, is that you will do anything for your child. So, meaning to stay in your child's life, more than what is required is expected
mm.
from you in terms of the financial support
To keep the peace, just so that you can have
to keep
access.
the peace. And the worst part that angers us, that makes us sometimes siba despondent and not want to participate, is that your child now becomes weaponized. Kuba isikhali, ne? In the sense that if you don't support or if you don't meet my demands, if you don't do this, I'm going to block you from seeing the child. You're not going to see the child. This child is not yours. Uzokhuliswa enye indoda, and all sorts of things that come into the mix. Now, take all of that I've just described to you. Ne?
Mm,
You are a man receiving all of these things. Ne? You are not really as outspoken. You don't discuss your emotions. Now, all of these things are being piled on top of you. You can't talk. You don't want to talk. What happens in the end? Uyagcwalelana, ne? And then you
mm,
explode. And this is no justification on the behavior here too, because at the end of the day, no matter how I feel as a man, I'm still responsible for my actions. Either way.
mm,
You know what I mean? So
mm,
that in a nutshell is what you lose. And what you need to also understand is that a concept that I like to do when I do talks with people, high school kids, wherever I need to speak to people, is that you need to understand the concept of self-love, right? Self-love is important. You need the very first thing for me ongayenza ne is identify that ngiyazithanda, ne? And if you allow me, can I say this to all my brothers who are either going through divorce or been divorced, who are in pain? My brother, wherever you are, ngiyaxolisa bhuti. Nxese, nxese. Your pain is valid. Ne? What you're feeling, you don't have to feel it alone. If you need to
but
reach out,
wait, you're jumping to the juice of the interview. Ima kancane
please,
lalela ke.
so sharp. Okay,
Ingabi ikuzula
let me
la
take a break.
lalela.
Lalela, yeah.
Mm. Um, do you think divorce iya ubuhlungu bayo or the impact of it iya ngokuthi how long were you married or the cause of the divorce itself? Like what makes it painful? Is it that you didn't see it coming? Is it that you've invested 20 years to this person, or is it that they cheated? Like, is it the cause, the root cause, or the length of the marriage, or like what makes it painful?
Look, there are many there are many reasons. Those reasons that you mentioned, they are all in the mix, right? You cannot separate one from the other. Ne?
Mm,
But one of the bigger things is, one, you don't see it coming, right? And two, you are using your day that you got married, ne? Wherever you got married, whether it was traditionally in a church or nilobole and nje, whatever the case is, you always make reference to that day. Ukuthi Makabelo, wangethembisa sithandwa sami.
mm,
That is the pain. And the bigger pain comes in ukuthi when you look at a person initially and you find that they are unapologetic
mm,
about this pain that they've caused you. That goes deep.
mm. When you knew of your divorce, did you go to seek help, or was it something that you thought you'll survive on your own? And would you recommend other men ukuthi bayenzeni as soon as they know? Is it advisable to just go and seek out help as soon as you know you're about to divorce as a man, or do you think it's just something that is unnecessary in your view?
No, the thing is that the reality is that you cannot do it on your own. Né? As strong as you think you are, you need help. What
Mm,
helped in my instance, I'm a very vocal person, right? In terms of the other thing is support. Whether you get support from family, whether you do counseling, whether you've got close friends, but you need to have a constant conversation. Because for me, now by the time we got there, and I said, you know what, sengikhathele or whatever the case is, it was a matter of I say I goes dude. That sort of
mm,
thing. You know what I mean? It's a constant conversation because the thing is that one other thing that surprises about us black men, right? Ngathi uyathenga isicathulo ne?
mm,
Isicathulo lezi ngiyakubona uMakabela, hey, she's strutting that heel, ne? And she's walking that heel. From the outside you see, hey, this shoe is killer. Her shoe game is on.
mm,
But kwazi wena kuphela ukuthi sibuhlungu kanjani ukuze uhambe kanjalo.
mm. And
You
then
know
new
what I mean?
shoes hurt. Yes, zibuhlungu
Yeah.
icathulo ezintsha, guys.
Yho, zikwenzani? Ziyakuluma. Uzophuma nama-cons. Sure. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So it's that thing. So I would advise guys to seek out help. Yabona. And the first step that you can do is talk to somebody. You've got 50% of the problem sorted. You need to tell somebody. When you're still in denial about your situation and you're not talking about it, izokudla. You'll find yourself doing funny things.
mm. And was it difficult coming out to your family and saying, "Look, I'm going to divorce"? Like, did you ever come out to your family or bazibonele nje, and how did they perceive it or take it? Because their reaction often with women is that when they want to divorce, kaningi they get rejected ekhaya, so you can't
Mm,
even move back home. You can't even, they tell you ukuthi umfazi, like as if uhlulekile, you're basically
yeah.
treated as as a failure, and you'd be lucky even if you get support, especially in the black environment, where if you
Mm,
after divorce you get support. What has been your experience family wise in terms of support to you?
okay. This is where one of those qualities called stubbornness helps. Yeah, but
Mm,
I made the example about the shoe on purpose. Um, I went to my family and I said, "Lalelani la." So Tina, we're a small unit, right?
mm,
Being my siblings and my mother. And I sat them down and I said, Bafet, akusebenzi. These are the reasons you guys have been involved in my conversations up to this point.
mm,
So ngicela nje, futhi I'm not here to ask for permission. I'm here to tell you ukuthi this is the direction that we're moving, right?
mm,
Both of us. So I did not get rejected. My mother said to me that Ntanam, you need to look at yourself. You cannot be a family man if wena ngaphakathi awukho right. If
Mm,
ungekho right inside, you are not going to contribute to your children. You're not going to
mm,
contribute to that family unit. You're not going to contribute to anything, right?
mm,
And let's be honest, we live in a time where us men, we kill women and women
mm,
kill us, right?
mm,
Egameni lika begezela. Or
mm.
buyela la buyela
So this
khona.
begezela also affects you as men because the
Yes.
impression is that it affects women. Ukuthi uyabegezela. How does ebegezelaring women affect you as a man?
You know begezelani, ne? You go back. Uyahlala. But no hlala. Then go back. And what. But the reality is that ukubuyela kwakho, you go back with rebellion. You go back with
Mm.
wanting to go
Awusanayo
and destroy.
nothando.
Awusanayo you've got nothing. Ukuthi la
Mm,
empty nje
mm.
kuhlangahlangene.
You're just
Uyabona?
on survival mode. You're not giving anything to your spouse.
Exactly, because kuthiwe and futhi what also pressures us. Remember, when we get married as black men, right?
Mm,
We are a symbol of pride to the family. Lo muntu silethela umakoti, sithathe
mm.
inkomo zethu, sayihambisa ngeenyawo zayofika wherever. So manje usuyabuya ufuna ukusihlaza thina ngokuthi ufuna i-divorce, ufuna ukusizela ngento yesilungu. What do you do? Wenzani?
What do you do?
Okay, mina ngizokutshela ke Makabelo mina ne. Mina
Mm,
ngibatshelile ukuthi guys ngisathi kancane. I went into a room ngazivalela umnyango. Ngakhala yazi, ngakhala
yeah.
ngakhala myself. Uyobona
What were
lento
you
nje.
crying for, though? What were you crying for?
I was
Was it the failed marriage, or you were crying? What exactly were you crying for? What was going through your mind at that time when you were crying?
look, the consideration was the things that I mentioned ukuthi yazi. One, there is that part about we failed. Two, there's a child involved. Three, there's something that we've built. Five, we've invested in something financially, emotionally, physically. All these things were all intertwined. It was just a culmination of everything. As in, high call. Is it all coming down to this? You know, to a point
Mm,
when you're going through the process where you ask yourself a sanity check. Ukuthi Bhungani, is this really what you want? Is your pride, is her pride,
mm,
is it too big for everything that's happening around?
mm.
You know what I mean?
And
So
how is your family viewing you during this, and your friends? Bakubona njani? Like to bakuthatha kanjani during this process as a man?
mm, yeah, look, Makabela, I'm a special breed, if I can say so myself. Né? I've always lived my life with I make the decisions. What you think about me is your business, right? Once I've
Mm,
made that decision, the hard part for me was getting to the decision, walking to the decision and deciding on it, right? But once I'd made the decision, in my mind, in my heart, was more transactional. I've made the decision. I'm going to live with it. Whether it's a mistake or not, I don't live in regret. It's more like
yeah.
I've got a gift of hindsight. Whenever I make any
Mm,
decision, favorable or not, it's more about listen, I made the decision. Um, I'm going to live with in the bed that I've set for myself. So what
mm.
friends had to say, I'd sit and listen to friends. I mean, when I was
Did
going
they
through
have
the
remarks, though? Did they have
of
izinto to say? Like,
course, of
yeah.
course. Let me relay a story to you. I've got my boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, my boys, Bang Bizela Caucus, right?
Mm,
There were about, I think, 10 to 14 of them
mm,
at one of the boys' place.
mm.
That's sitting and listening to 10 to 14 men, I don't know if it's Bangal, telling me each and every one of their views, right? They
About
spoke
your marriage,
about my marriage, about everything,
your
and
process. Mm,
my process, and I sat and I listened, right? And I listened and I listened and I listened and I listened, right? And then afterwards, because the decision was made, I said, okay, guys, you've given me your views. Let me give you my views, right? I gave them my views. After I gave them my views, they were like, there's nothing else to say. Sharp, good luck with your process. Like, sharp, no
mm,
problem,
mm,
you know. and it was what I was going through at the time. So yeah, so
Mm,
people had look, Mina, I don't have an issue if you want to have a comment about my life. That's your business, yeah, but
mm,
I will listen, and then if it makes sense to me, I'll take your advice. If it doesn't, then we move along.
mm. So
Yeah.
culturally, what is the impact of divorce from a black traditional perspective? What is the impact of that? Um,
Look, it's
Especially
definitely
for you as a man, is there any impact, if any?
no. There hasn't been an impact. The same call it respect stand that I had culturally. I still have it. There
So
hasn't
you didn't
been
have to go back and ubike phansi ukuthi, or if you believe in ancestors, assuming you didn't have to do all of that.
no. So what happened was once the decision was made between my ex, we called our parents. Yeah?
Mm,
We sat them down and said, "Bagit ukaso, right?
mm,
Sabhoza soyi-2, right? Once we got to border, and then we said, this is the decision that we've taken. Then the
mm,
parents said, guys, don't you want to go back, nizame, trying
mm,
to solve the situation. But I think at that time, they see nothing. Amakhanda besashisanyana. So we're like, no, asingeni. Yabon. And this is
mm,
how we're moving. And the parents were like, okay. They're like, okay, what is the plan with your child? Because
mm,
and then we outlined what our plan was. What is the plan with this? We outlined what the plan is.
mm.
That is what made the divorce process easier because
Easier,
there was a discussion.
a balanced discussion.
If you don't have that, I'm I'm not laughing, but and I
So,
look sorry, yeah.
mm, no, continue.
No, I was saying because, and I can say this not because I'm saying abanye abantwana. I've been
Mm.
involved with friends where it's gone pear shaped, where it's gone sort of okay, where it's gone sort of yay, and where it's gone fairly easy. The choice is
What
yours
do you think makes it easy? What do you think is the compromise or the role that a man would have played for divorce to be easy?
to be easy. I think what we do, right, as men, one, in the process, do not lose the fact that you're still a man, right?
Mm,
That's the first thing. The second thing is that you cannot, if you were a bully, for argument's sake, nah, thinking that you will bully your ex into getting things done is not going to
mm,
happen. So what made the things easier for me, right, is that my ex and I had a common goal, right?
mm,
We want to divorce amicably. We want to make it cost effective. Whatever we do or say needs to be in the best interest of the child because right
mm,
now he is the biggest loser.
mm,
Where now I can argue the way that I want with my ego, my loss doesn't matter, your loss doesn't matter, our child loses at this point in time.
mm,
So whatever discussions that we had, right? We had discussions, those that we agree upon. We then talk to the divorce lawyers. This is how we're moving. There's no resistance. There's nothing. We've agreed on it. And trust me, there were those that we argued about, esingazwani, esingafuni ukuzwana ngazo. Those ones
mm,
we refer to the lawyers. Yeah?
mm,
And the other thing is that divorce is expensive, Ted.
mm.
I don't know if you're gonna touch on it later, but it's also
No, we'll
up to
touch
you.
on it. We'll touch on
Mm.
it. Your followers bayahlupha la babuza ukuthi uphuzani but
Until amanzi anompontshisi.
I can izwele guys, so stop with your comments. Abanye babuza ukuthi are you single? Hey, your followers are unruly shame. Hayi yazi ubathathaphi labantu laba.
Ithi bangene ku-inbox bazoba right uzobaphendula lapho.
Yeah, shoot your
Wethu.
shot there, guys. Hayi anikeleni lento le. So
Yep.
so for me, also, what are some of, because it sounds like you had fairly a an easier divorce than an average man out there, you know. So from
Mm,
your observation, what is some of the mistakes that men, before we get to the mistakes that men make when they divorce?
mm.
Kunephutha na if indoda naye akafuna ukuphuma endlini ufuna ukulwela indlu. is it wrong? Because legally he's also paid for it. He's also, I think the norm out there is that indoda mayingafuni ukuyekela umfazi endlini, then he's evil or he's, but you've invested. Isn't it fair to also fight for, is it fair for men to also fight and fight for the house, the home, and want to remain in it? Or are they being selfish? Or is it better to just as a man be like, you know what, sala la ngiyahamba?
Okay. One, it is not selfish. If it depends, if I speak legally to it, if you're married in community of property, you've got every right to be there until the divorce settlement comes out and says that, you know what, we are either selling this house or it's going to whoever in lieu of what. So you've got every right to be there. He's not being selfish because what you're asking him to move out, to go and rent somewhere, to pay the
Mm,
bond at the same time, as well as
take
then
care of
pay
the
rent
child
and take care
and
of the child
himself.
and himself and all of those things. So I think it's also very selfish on our counterparts to expect me to do that. If you can find a comfortable living arrangement where there's no abuse, where there is no physical violence, where the environment for the child is healthy,
Mm,
then it's not being selfish to say, you know what, it's also my asset, or else, you know what, alternatively as Pume say too. Siyeke
mm,
ime ithengise le ndlu. But
mm,
for anybody to be like, you know what, he needs to get out, she needs to get, no, 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 no. And oh yeah, the one thing that I forgot to tell you, and this is a very wise friend of mine said this to me when I started with the process. Ati, the spirit in which you entered a marriage, ne? When you decide to divorce, exit with
mm,
the same spirit.
mm,
That is the difference between when it's a good divorce or a bad divorce. Ne?
mm,
So even when you're discussing in Dabayengu, to go back to your question,
mm,
if you both of you are dealing it with the spirit that you came into the marriage, ne, you will find a solution. Even
mm,
if the guy needs to move out, remember we also, as in Izinto, we're human as well. Some things we do and say out of spite because we are
mm.
we are coming from a place of hurt,
I've
right?
heard, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
and I want to exert this hurt that I'm feeling on you. Why
mm.
why why when I must you stay with this beautiful house and everything and everything? Mina kusamele ngivuke kusasa ngiye macro ngiyocosha
Why
ikettle.
must it be
Yeah.
easy for you?
Why
Mm,
must it be easy for you? Yabon? So
mm,
now, as my opposite, you also need to ask Uguti, how do I make it easy? Because the thing is that what we fail to realize is that if I make the divorce easy for you, ne, you will make it easy for me.
mm,
If we are not spiteful with each other, we can make it easy for ourselves. Ne?
mm. Yeah. So we spoke briefly about you communicating with the family.
Mm,
What how as a man should you, what message should you be umntwana? You mentioned ukuthi there was a child.
mm.
Assuming ukuthi the child was of an age where they could understand. What conversation should a man have as the father of the child with the child about divorce?
Okay. Let me put it to you like this. In everything that you do, right, and I'm relating from personal experiences, you both need to sit down with the child, no matter how you feel about each other, right? You need to both sit down with the child. Ne? As a man, you are going to guide and lead the conversation, right? You will allow the mother to speak and everything else, but you are leading and guiding this conversation. Ne?
Hmm.
The first thing, you do not stop reiterating that you love the child. If
Hmm.
it means it's every second or third word, and you don't say daddy still loves you, it's mommy and daddy still love you.
Hmm.
We still love
The
you.
we of it. We are
It's
still
the we.
here. We're still your parents.
Yes, in front of the child, you are a united team, no matter what. No matter what, in the other room or before the child arrived, you were screaming at each other. You had mess out. Sorry, that's a bad example, but it was all out fighting.
Guns blazing. Mm.
When the child comes back, you must be like two schizoids basically, where you sit and hey, yangane yami, yazi, hey, mama wakho, yazi ubaba wakho. So back to your question, it's more about you sit down with a child and you tell them children what children like to do, they like to assign faults to themselves. Mommy and
Mm,
daddy are separating because of me.
me.
I've been naughty. When mommy said I must eat, I didn't eat. Or mommy said I
Mm,
must go and do this, I didn't put away my toys. Because I'm not putting away my toys, I'm causing daddy to leave or mommy to leave. You need to reiterate that every day. But it's not your fault. We love you. Anytime that you need to see daddy or mommy or talk to any of us, tell the parent that you're with that that is what you want to do. And you
mm.
are,
But
yeah?
but the reality of it is that now the child doesn't come home to you. I'll say,
Mm,
assuming
mm.
that the child is with, and that changes the dynamic of how they relate to you, doesn't it? Is this something that men should go out prepared with? After divorce, how is the relationship and the dynamics changing with your child? Because there's a lot. I mean, the child
Okay.
can't tell you about their bad day now. Would say, "Oh, I had a horrible day at school," blah blah.
Mm, okay. Here's how I worked it. I made a conscious decision. Ukuthi, the level of involvement in my child's life, I'm going to maintain it. Although ngingalali lapho,
Mm,
ngingahlali lapho. First thing I did, right, when I moved out, ne, the next place that I got was less than 5 kilometers from where
mm,
they stayed, right? It was
mm,
less than 5 kilometers. I could stand on my balcony and looking like, hey, nangu umuzi wami laphayana. Mazukesu wami laphayana. You know what I mean? So even if the involvement is not that much, you need to then compensate. And what you also need to do, Malcolm, ne? And I learned
mm,
this from Fresh. Fresh travels around. He says, I see my kids 2 or 3 times a week. Whenever you make contact with a child, make such a big impact. Ogoti, when you leave, right, for those couple of days that you don't see them, that they don't forget about you or they don't feel Ogoti there's a vacuum. So every time you interact with your child, make sure that it is impactful. So back to what you were saying, Ogoti, I had to change my lifestyle. Ne? I had to make it in such a manner, Ogoti, once or twice or 3 times in a week, I'm the one that drives to the house. I pick up my son, I take him to school. We have motivation days in the car. I made it a point of okay, if sometimes the transport their flop or whatever the case is, I am there to pick him up. If he's got extramural activities, I am there. If it means I must take an afternoon off work, I will do that for my child. If it means we go to 1 or 2 days, I will go to the house and read him a bedtime story and put him to bed and bath him. I will do that for my child.
mm,
Whether at the time there's somebody or nobody in my life, it didn't really matter to me at that point in time. It was
mm,
more about I cannot have this break in whatever with my child. It also helps with him. From the time my son was born up until Sefugana no Mawaki, I was a very involved father.
mm,
So that didn't change, and it still hasn't changed now today.
mm.
Yeah.
I hear you. That's good. From your observation or even personal experience, what would you say are some of the mistakes men make when they go through a divorce? Nothing. Yeah, this guy.
I'm
Guys, this guy.
saying. Listen,
Whether it's your
yeah,
personal mistakes that you've made or from observation of your peers, your friends, your whatever, just what are
mm,
some of the mistakes that men make when they go through a divorce?
do not bully your ex into anything. Do not
Mm.
do not swear at your ex.
So
Do
there
not
tends to be a lot of abuse and bullying.
yes yes.
Mm.
Do not speak badly about your ex or your current whatever you're going through. Do not speak badly to them to your child. Do not badmouth to your friends. Ne? And all of these things I'm saying in hindsight. Ne? I used to do it jokingly until friends of mine, very good friends of mine, they remind you, Guti, XA, don't forget, whatever you're saying about your ex, they're still your mother's child. What would your
Mm.
child say to you if you are speaking like this about mother or their father? So that I stopped then. I'm not perfect. I had my flaws then. Nami, and I didn't even want to justify it because at that time you are dealing with your own pain. You don't know how to express it. So any other avenue you want to find to exit it, it was fine. Look, the process was, it sounds easier, but at the beginning it was really bad. So some of the other mistakes you don't make is that don't don't make decisions either about the process or the children without consent of the other party. Do not do that. And most importantly, you need to keep your cool with anything. If you feel that you are losing it, walk away. Easier said
Mm,
than done, but take yourself and walk away.
mm.
Yes.
There's this
Those are,
yeah, no, I hear you. So
uh,
I've often heard Uti men and women how they deal with divorce differently is that for women, they'll cry. The grievance stage is basically that they'll cry it out. It hits them hard the first year and whatever. They don't
uh,
date, they don't do anything, they don't party, they just they deal with it. They
uh,
deal with it. Yabashaya, they cry a lot, they're at home to their mothers. They're losing themselves. Whereas the man, as soon as he gets divorced, is like, freedom, finally, I can do what I want, I can sleep around, I can, in denial, they're in denial stage. And then it only hits them later on, shucks. So men tend to deal with divorce much more later. When the woman is now recovering, they're back in the dating game, they're looking good, they've dealt with all the ugly cries, they've when shaya, is it true that men only deal with the effects of divorce much later on?
okay. Let me tell you, a man, né, we compartmentalize. So to us, it divorce is a compartment in my DNA.
Mm,
For a woman, it divorce is involved in everything. And when I say, let me give you an example. She could she could be at one of my friends, ex colleagues, with divorce and I. Ugu copy, ne? She's making a copy paper, boom, and she loses it. Then she starts crying. And I'm like, sisters, no, yes, it papa for me. Hey, fucking IT. Da, 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 da. I'm like, but there's paper next to the machine. Yeah, footy. Nina Matota. Yes, like that it was. And that is how she mixed it into everything else. And it's not wrong. It is just
mm,
how our female counterparts are wired. 40 now we compartmentalize, right? And then after we compartmentalize, we then come back and say, Ish, Yazin. Because we all, you don't forget the compartments that you have. We go back to this compartment and like, shucks, manja, this is what I have to deal with. Ne? And then it hits you. Then it only hits you, Uguti, hey, this is what needs to happen. For me, right, my personal experience, after that, right, I was really hurt and I was also very angry. Yeah. But I needed an outlet. I needed an outlet and it couldn't be I needed to take this pain the way it is in a corner inside me and I needed to belt it out. Yeah. But with that, I can't belt it out on a person. I can't belt it out on an object or whatever, whatever. That's when I said, you know what, boom, I guess you're chilling na payana. So my anger, I took it and I started heavy lifting. To my
mm.
detriment, obviously, and I pulled a muscle the first couple of days. But that is where I
You had
then
to move it to something else, yeah. Mm,
exactly. So whenever you've got something inside as a man, you need to find an outlet, but you also need to be careful with the outlet that you use. So what I found helped for me was gym, exercise, eating healthy. The partying, the examples you made, the partying for me,
mm,
it decreased. Not because I was changing who I am. The drinking, it decreased. All the other recreational things that you can think of as a man,
mm,
they decreased. Not because I no longer wanted them, but I've also got this thing at the back of my mind about freak accidents. Yeah? I'm feeling a certain way. I want to either cover this feeling that I have or make it go away. I then go and do something extreme. And then jiggy jiggy, heavy heavy, send feel, you know? Or I'm in a wheelchair or whatever the case is. So for me it was more preventing that and finding a healthier and more sustainable way of dealing with the divorce. Hello. Hey, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, got you. Did you get that?
I think I lost you there. I think, yeah.
Okay, so basically what I was saying is that I found a very healthier way to deal with my anger and to belt it out rather than going out and partying and do whatever. The partying and all those other nice recreational things that we do, I did that after I dealt with it.
Mm.
Yeah. Did you get
No, I didn't. Did the
that?
audience get that?
After audience, mina ngazi.
Isho ngesizulu mhlawumbe izobuya-ke.
Lalela la, ngihambe mina ngakhipha lonke lolu laka ey'nsimbini, ngatrina kuze ngaba
Mm,
right. Ugolongo,
yeah.
amaphathi, nazo zonke lezi zinto ebengizenza, ngizenza afterwards mase ngizwa ukuthi yazini sengiqindile manje sengibophile, you know?
Mm. When you divorce, do you also divorce your in-laws? Because that's also another question. Because women, maybe for Bona, is it also the same? What about the in-laws? Do you also does does that relationship change as a man or
Do not divorce your in-laws. It's not that you're saying ukuthi I wanna go back to your family, I wanna go back to your child. Uhambe laphayana wabasukela wathi ngicela ukwakho ubudlelwane. Now that senihlukene, you now want to stop talking. If the talking and whatever is not as nothing as often as possible or as frequent or whatever the case is, you can't say now that I've divorced your 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 daughter, now sis divorcing. Let me give you an example of what happens with me. Some weekends, youngest, hello, youngest.
mm,
So I'm saying,
I'm
Guti.
here.
Oh, okay, sorry. So I'm saying, Guti, for instance, let me give you an example. Some weekends, if I can't take my son, for whatever reason, I'll be traveling or whatever the case is, né? It's easier for my ex to pick up the phone and either call my brother or my sister to say, please come, can I bring the child to you or whatever the case is. Now, if you've divorced the in-laws, how then do you deal with the child? Sometimes you
Mm,
find Uguti ingane sele by one of the gogos. Ne?
mm,
I remember one year I went on holiday to Cape Town, but my son wasn't traveling with me, right? I went to Cape Town. So, but my ex needed to get my child to my mother, ne? And it involved my ex having to drive halfway to Velcom and then having my brother and my mother and my sister pick them up. Now, if they don't have that relationship, how was it going to happen for my son? You know?
mm, mm,
And we're very open about it because ngikwazi ukufonela abantu bakubo if I need help with the child or whatever the case is, or naye ukwazi ukufonela abantu bakithi when it comes to the child. And
mm,
it's like a rule ukuthi I don't discuss your daughter, you don't discuss our son, but it's fine, it's okay. But impilo siyabuzana, siyahlangana, how
mm,
ma kunjani, exchange hugs, sit and chat, have a drink, you know, and interact the way that we used to interact. But it's just that me and your daughter, and it's not something where if you're interacting with your in-laws, your ex must get out of the room or they can't talk. No, you interact. Remember, and
mm,
one thing that I maintain as a man, Ogoti, we are all still family. We may not be together, whatever the case is, we are all still family. And if anybody comes into my life, we are joining this family. We are going to make it functional because it should not be now because there's somebody that's joining or whatever the case is, you now come and you find Dogoти isn't the segment exchange for any. We're not
mm.
fighting over anything. There are no residual feelings. You deal with the residual feelings and then you deal with it. It's also up to you if you want to separate the people. It's fine. It's okay.
What's been the hardest thing about going through a divorce for you?
Not not seeing my boy the way that I wanted to have seen him and missing some milestones in his life. That guy, basing Amate Nolui me for a good 5 years, men and I. So having to separate and coming home and not seeing him, that took its toll on me. It really did, and it's also, part of it is you almost feel like you failed at something that's got to do with the school of life,
Mm,
and you blame yourself for other things, and you become an emotional roller coaster. That's why I think, for me, it's very important ukuthi uhlale afterwards, uzimamele, and you go through a bit of introspection, right? And
mm,
as much as you want to assign fault to the other person, or the other person wants to assign fault to you, don't do that. Just think
mm,
about Bungani, uflope kuphi wena. It maybe
mm,
you can say, the other person cheated, or you cheated on the other person. Yes, 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 it's true. However, what did we do to influence the wrong behavior in the other person? And the
mm,
only way that you're going to forgive the other person is if you forgive yourself. Taboo as it sounds, but you need to forgive yourself. You can only show what you yourself possess. If you can't forgive
mm.
yourself, it's hard for you to forgive another person. It's that
Yeah,
simple. Yeah.
yeah. And knowing what you know now about divorce,
Ah,
uh, what uh, what do you wish you had known before getting divorced? What do you wish you had known? What knowledge do you wish you had come with to help make your divorce easier?
nothing.
Nothing.
Like,
There's nothing that you found out during divorce that you were like, hey, I wish I knew this one before, or I wish I was
no,
more prepared for this.
no, you cannot. This is a school of life, right? And I'm
Okay,
serious.
no, I hear you. Okay, while we at that point, we'll come back to this question. We'll answer it
Mm,
now.
mm.
So, I mean, from the experience that you've had, it sounds like a relationship and marriage coming to an end is like the same. Is it different?
No, it's not different. It's the same thing. If you look at the structure of the relationships that we get ourselves into right now, the only thing a short there between a relationship and a marriage is a marriage certificate.
Because
That
sisiyahlala sonke, sisiyathenga ama-macro pubs
exactly.
wonke.
We are in
You bring your things, I bring my things, you know?
sihlangahlangene. So for me, marriage is a type of relationship in itself. So for me, it's like the only thing that's separating it is that marriage certificate. Okay, marriage certificate, there was a formality. But if you look at the structure of our relationships, we might as well stop calling it boyfriend girlfriend relationships. It's an informal marriage. Like this, I mean,
But now, back to the
mm.
question now, Utewena, there's nothing that you wish you had known. Did you know what the law says maybe on your side before divorce? Did you know all of that before you got married? Did you know all of that? It's okay. If I choose to get divorced, this is how it's gonna go. Oh my word, there's load shedding.
I can still see the contours of your face. So it's
What?
okay.
I thought this thing was gone.
Steve,
What is that?
I
Okay, let me
think
try and find the light a bit. Although we're running out of time.
now it's
Jeez, this
fine.
is not nice.
I've got time. Star.
Oh wow. Okay, Melegangani, just hold on, please.
Mm, no problem. I'll take a refill.
No, this is not happening, guys.
Ooh, something out of a horror movie.
A girl made a plan, eh?
Alas.
Pamela, this is gonna
Mm.
be short because I just need to wrap it up. I don't like how this is ending. So now, it was it different getting back at the dating game? Because I deal with a lot of women who say, you know what, these things have changed after divorce. Getting back at the dating game, things have changed. You know, the streets have changed. I'm such holy the way we used to jola. Like, so would you say that for you getting back in the dating game after divorce, what did you find things were different? What was hard to adjust to, and so forth.
It's, it's hard hard to adjust to it, right? The other thing that's very prevalent is your tolerance levels. You find that your tolerance levels
Mm,
are very low. And when you see or experience certain behaviors, you're like, Emanyan, I'm not doing this. I'm not going down
mm.
this road because I know where this road goes down. It doesn't matter. We're all human. If we start going down this road,
But
so
did you
it's
remember kushelwa kanjani ngoba sowukhohliwe lezo zinto?
hi mina I would be like hi siyashelana angikwazi ukushela mina ngishela ngithini because manje kushela kumele ngikuthembise izinto angifuni ukuzokuthembisa anything mina how do I thembisa you anything, you
Hmm.
know. It's so
Yeah.
that for me that's what's changed ukuthi ngizokuthembisa ngithembise, but I've also, and that's the other impact that divorce will have on you, is that uma uthembisa umuntu izinto, you know that promises can be broken, and they can be
Mm,
broken in a very painful way. So you're like, I don't want to subject you to promises. Don't subject me
mm,
to promises. Let's just agree, Uguti, this is how we're going to move. If then you can't move in this direction, then let's communicate, let's have a discussion. If not, then it's fine. Ask Zame next door, basically.
knowing what you know about divorce, would you get married again?
Oh, of course.
What would you do differently this time?
This time, I'd be more, I think I lacked a bit of understanding, and I'd have to work on my stubbornness. It hasn't been stubborn.
Mm.
Stubborn in my nice way and whatever. And I'd get married again and again and again. Not that I'm a sucker for divorce, but the thing,
This is always a process, so next time you just do it quickly.
and from my experience, you can make it slightly cheaper as well, so you don't have
Oh,
to.
wow.
But the bottom line is that I love love. I love to love. Uthando lwam doesn't just end, doesn't just
Hey, are
whatever.
you marketing yourself? This guy's marketing himself here, but
Faka konke senizoyibonela ukuthi
lalela
ngifaka
ke.
kanjani. Uh,
Last question for me
uh,
is I'm gonna this has to end. I don't like how it's looking now. But be lighting your side for this to work.
okay.
So what are your message to men and about divorce if somebody's going through a divorce right now, or if for some reason they'll even go through it, sasa bangazi, what are some of your tips and what are some of your parting ways with men and maybe even women because they also are part of this, isn't it? And they also deal
Mm,
with this. So
mm.
yeah, what would you like to say? Just roughly advising, maybe.
Okay. All right. To both parties, a divorce is not a movie. What you see on TV is acting. Take that out of the equation. For the ladies, please, whatever you do, right? I guess also for the guys, keep things amicable. Ladies,
Mm,
please do not use the children as weapons. If he cannot contribute the way that he's contributing, please find other ways that he can contribute. Allow him access to his child. One of the biggest things that I've seen is that ladies will complain, Guti, this guy is not participating in the child's life. There
mm,
are different circumstances. But for a man to participate in a child's life, you need to literally, as a lady, as a woman, take the child and like, na ingane yakho,
mm,
interact with them, spend time with them. If the man decides akafuna ukwenza lokho, that is unfortunate, and we can
mm,
see it through the number of unregistered father births that are happening in South Africa. We can see it through child maintenance cases that are happening in the country. So
mm.
offer the child. Don't expect to go to mouths corner. A father will actively take their role. We are not built the same.
Yeah, yeah.
There are those guys and dads that will do it
And it's
naturally
people.
because it's in them. There are those that
Mm,
do not how to, because the other thing is that for guys, do not associate your anger or your pain of them towards the mother and attach it to the child. Although by
mm,
package, it doesn't mean if you're upset at the mother or you want nothing to do with the mother, you also relinquish your responsibility as a father. Yeah.
Mm.
As a guy, and this goes to both male and females, whether he hurt you or she hurt you, right? It does not give either one of the parties the right
Mm.
yokukujezisa to make you feel guilty, to punish you. There is
To make your
nobody
life
on
difficult.
and you don't deserve it. We've got this thing, Yogoti, if I hurt you, you now think I deserve to be hurt and whatever. Release that in your heart because if you do not do that, you're going to release some toxins into your bloodstream. Uzozibona ugula, ungazazi ukuthi uphethwe yini, kanti it's the negative energy that you're generating within your body. For the
Yeah.
gentlemen, my brothers, like I said before, the pain is valid. Whatever you're going through, ngiyaxolisa mfowethu. You are
Kubuhlungu
loved.
ne?
You are loved. If you need to reach out, if you need to reach out to me, igama lami uBhungane Hadebe. Reach out. Let's chat. Sisters, nawe la ukhona. Whatever pain that you're feeling, I cannot imagine it. I cannot feel it. Yaziwa wena. Nawe sisters la ukhona. Yes, yes.
Okay, where
Ayolibamba.
do people find you, Bhungani?
You can find me on Facebook, Bhungane
Mhm.
Hadebe. You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is bungs underscore Hadebe.
Mhm.
Um, well, no, I can't share my number. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. Feel free to message me. If you want my details, if you want to talk and whatever, Makabelo, if you want to have a follow-up conversation, I'm good with it, guys. The thing is that we need to build each other as a society. That is the bottom line. And we are finding, and I'm grateful for this avenue that we've used today, Magabele. Thank you to you that
Mm.
we men are able to talk and to share some
Yeah.
things because we 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 are either silent or we're too quiet to talk. So reach
Mm.
out, let's have a conversation. If it's around the table over a glass of some weird stuff, or even tea, but let's have
Ngiyabonga so much. Yeah.
yeah.
So we ran out of time, but thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And I love that you shared them so authentically. I don't think you really gave us a marketing answer or a political answer. You just gave answers that come from your experience, but also answers that come from your heart. And thank you so much for that. Sizohlangana futhi, we'll be back here and hopefully talk about something else. Maybe this time talk about the alcohol because I can see you're big on that. Ngiyadlala. Thank you so much.
All right. Cheers, yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.